Oh, that's new. It
Yeah.
just said, did you hear that at your end? Recording
Yeah.
in progress. Well, there you go. That's a new one.
Oh no, I got this meeting has been recorded. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's new. It's a new feature. They've upgraded this without telling me, a bit like Windows 10. Good morning, Michael.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm great.
Today,
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm joined by Michael Carr from GoRoadie. Um, First bumped into Michael at I think the first driving instructor show. I think
I think it was the MSAGB national conference in.
Oh, it might have been. Anyway,
Was
you approached me to talk to myself and managing director at LDC about this app you were doing. And whilst we were interested, it wasn't something that was at the forefront then. But obviously, I've followed progress going through, and it's. And I wanted to find out about what makes a young man like yourself as driven as you seem to be, and just to find out a bit more who you are and stuff, and where you're at. So what is it that got you into what you're into then?
Yeah,
Tell us your life story.
it's a crazy little journey to end up here, and I never thought I would end up here, but here we are. So it's my career is basically being in software. I've built software for since my early 20s into my 30s, and I eventually, one of my jobs, I met a friend who was a driving instructor, and he was asking me, he was asking me, "Oh, can you help me out, get me some more pupils?" And I was working very closely with my co-founder Barry at the time on a work project, and we're like, "Yeah, we can do that. That can be a kind of fun little side project for us." And we thought, okay, well, we'll go investigate how do you go and learn to drive in 2015. And because at that time it was like Uber, Airbnb, Deliveroo was everywhere, and we're just like, okay, well, what service do you use for that? And we didn't find anything. We're like, oh, that's odd. I was like, you have to call someone. I think that seems so crazy.
On a card you saw in a newsagent's window.
Yeah, exactly. Get the yellow pages out, and then like there we go. And that was like in the age of all that technology exploding, I was like, oh, that seems like an opportunity for us. That seems like a really fun little project to do. And then, so me and Barry, we thought, okay, we're not going to build you a website. We're going to build a service to let learner drivers book instructors. And so we built that in our spare time, evenings, weekends, building away at it, which got quite exhausting. And then in 2017, we kind of done a trial in Dundee, where I'm from. So where I'm from, and then I got a little notification on my phone one day. Like someone's booked. I was like, oh, that's like, okay, that's so strange. All we did was put some Google ads on, and we're like, wonder if anyone will book. I should say, sorry, before we launched, we actually spoke to a bunch of Dundee instructors. We invited them up for coffees and got some feedback and tweaked it and made it like work, kind of what they would felt more comfortable with. And they were helping us test it out. And they were like, yeah, okay, this could work. And I was like, cool. And then they got their first booking, and they're like, oh wow, this is real. And then we weren't even charging for it. We were just like, will anyone use this service? And then they did. And then eventually we're like, great, this is a service that can work. And then eventually we spoke to a business mentor, and they're like, well, it's great, but you need to move on and like see, can you go into new cities and can you make money from it? So we had to eventually like charge, and because it was all new to us, so we added a fee, but the instructor was just like, definitely worth it, really happy to pay it, because it means I just get guaranteed people. So like,
you're only paying on results, aren't you? So it's
yeah. So that's probably the key thing that when we're doing our market research, we saw that there was services like Yale, and what's the other ones? There's Yale, but there's also like Facebook ads. So you pay for, if you need a new student, you can pay Facebook ads, you can pay Google ads, which a lot of instructors were doing. And there's also a lot more expensive services to get pupils from. Like if you're, I don't know if I should say this on it. Are you going to edit this, by the way?
Well, I hadn't planned on it, so don't swear and don't stick your finger up your nose.
Okay.
I managed to work it in. There you go.
There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can pay for people's, and then, but the problem was they don't guarantee people's. They're just like Facebook, Google, and Yelp. You're paying for the chance of getting the people. And what we thought, well, if you're paying on GoRoadie, is what we'll do is we'll guarantee you people. So it's you pay for that people, but for whatever happens, if communication breaks down or if they don't end up getting a lesson from you, come back to us. We'll give you another people.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because that's people buy Facebook advertising, Google advertising, Google, all that sort of stuff. People join franchises because you pay X number of pounds, and there's the promise or the hope that you're going to get work from it, but there isn't a guarantee.
No.
But if I used to do stuff like I would get the local milkman to deliver leaflets, and if I got a pupil from it, I'd pay him 20 quid. But I'm only paying on results, so I'm never taking a chance, except on the publishing cost of the leaflets, that kind of stuff, So it was something that when I looked at it, I said, well, it's intriguing because and it is great because you're only paying on results.
Yep.
The world, once you're qualified as an ADI and you appear on the internet, the world and his auntie is ringing you saying, we've got this way of generating work for you. It's bulletproof. You can't go wrong.
Yep.
You say, well, can you guarantee that? No. But if somebody says to me, I can't guarantee it, but I guarantee I'll not charge anything unless I do it, without buying into that, what's it going to cost me? And I always look at 20 quid for a new pupil as being cheap. That's a cheap way of generating a new lead that might pay you over £1,000. So
that's exactly it. We've always said that.
Talked over you there, right?
No, we were just kind of echoing the point home. It's like that's exactly it. We were just like, we charge £18, and it's like £18 for one pupil, and you get potentially
18. Thank you. Just because as you start to get excited about it, you revert a little bit back more to your Dundee accent.
I do, and and quite often instructors always have to be like, "Is that 80? No, 18." We can add text at this point.
Brilliant. It's great. It's wonderful that you're passionate about it, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yeah, and so there was other things that we thought that were really interesting about the industry as well, like because we were brand new to the industry, right? So we weren't brought up in this industry, so we were like, it was such a learning curve because like we didn't know who operated in the past, how the industry norms were. So we didn't learn all that. Which was interesting because it meant we kind of could challenge it a little bit when we felt it was maybe a bit not quite right. So, for example, we saw there would be franchises or websites that would like some websites in the past would be phoning instructors, be like, got a pupil for you. Here's £500, and you will give them 30, 40 lessons, and it's like. And I work out at the hourly rate of like £20 an hour. And it's like, well, your hourly rate is £80.
We're seeing a lot of that at the minute.
Sorry?
Because of the demand at the minute, we're seeing a lot of that. These places saying, we've got this pupil, do you want this? And you look at the hourly rate and think, ooh, who's taking the biggest chunk here? It's just,
that's not right. And that it's the industry seemed ripe with that, rife with that. When we came along, and people, when we spoke to people, like, I'm not interested in what you guys are doing because of that. And I was like, hold up, we're not like that. We're not, because what we've always kind of championed is you charge your rate. We will never set your rate. If anything, what we do is we've had instructors sign up and being like £23 an hour. I'm like, hey Jim, I just wanted to let you know, give him a call, like, let you know, like, by the way, your average rate in the area is £3 higher, £4 higher than that. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, go and try and put your prices up £2 an hour. And then immediately people still booked him, and he was just earning £2 more an hour. And he's like, can't believe that. Thank you very much. I'm like,
that's £4,000 a year more profit.
How crazy is that?
For nothing.
It's absolutely crazy. And it's like, and that's kind of when we thought, well, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? And then it was like, we came up with the kind of mission of improving the quality of life for driving instructors. Okay. And it just meant every single thing we did, we're like, how does that make the life better? And that's it. That's when we're doing things, we just have that conversation and we really just challenge that. And it's like, if we have a disagreement, it's like, how does that make their life better? And it's like, we have to always, it's really about that. And that's everything we do is guided by that. And it makes it so easy to run this business, because it's like, okay, how are we making life better? Are we constantly
Well, I think it's
thinking about that question?
It's also very current, isn't it? You know, we're all really in tune now to what lockdown has done to us, and how fresh air and exercise and how that adds to quality of life. So I think we are a bit more switched on to, does this impact on my quality of life? So I think it's I mean, I know you've got a new version coming up, but it just to take you back a couple of steps. I mean, I love the passion that you come to it with, and you know, it really shone through that first time you approached us. When I was stood, you know, wearing a suit for one of the few times I'd be like, excuse me, do you mind if I talk to you about this? No, not at all. And you know, the questions you were asking, it made me realize that these guys probably are different to what else, because, you know, as a franchise, everybody's trying to sell us stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, the philosophy is very much the same as the LDC philosophy. You know, when we always have to sort of make the case of why LDC is different to other franchises, because in the brochure it maybe looks the same, but it is about helping people become independent, helping them get the best opportunities from their business, really, if you like.
Yeah.
What were you doing while you were developing the app, and where were you working when that happened?
We I've like kind of a overlap with two different jobs. So Barry, my co-founder, we work in a company called Find My Past together, and we were there. So Find My Past is like Ancestry. It's basically the British Ancestry, and they've got like tons of British records. I don't know why I'm bigging them up, but yeah. We worked there for a year, quite a few years together, and that's where we really honed our skills, and like we built world-class products for them. And I was really interested in one project me and Barry worked on was for the Imperial War Museum, to celebrate the centenary of the First World War. And Barry done this amazing design for like every single man and woman that fought in in First World War. I should say served in the First World War. They had basically a profile page,
right?
Which is, and we built this. Me and a few others built this entire service. It was a very small team, and then but that's kind of like every person had a profile page, and they were like, every instructor can have a profile page, and it was like, oh, we can do this, but for driving instructors. But what was interesting with that design is that it was like you got a timeline of everything that happened when they were born, because you had their birth record, and then when they enlisted, when they died, when they got married, all that sort of, because you had all that data. And I was like a little timeline. And then Ancestry, this $1 billion business, came along and actually took Barry's design and implemented it over in the States. And it was like, and if anything, we were just like, that's pretty cool. Like, well done, Barry. Like, a $1 billion company copies your design. So, and I knew that he's definitely someone I want to work with. After the, but that was kind of like, oh, we built this whole service, and that's when we're thinking, well, we could build something similar for driving instructors, because we just did it in our day to day, so we know how to do it in our evenings. And then I left to work at Amazon for a while. So I worked there. I started managing. So I managed a team of software engineers at Amazon, which was a really great experience for like the business side of it, and for like looking at things at a bigger scale. So like that's kind of maybe the difference that Barry and I have, is we've got that technology background, that we really understand how to build innovative, big new products that aren't just the status quo. And I guess that's probably why we come into this industry with a little bit of a different perspective. And we're like, it's like, how do we innovate? How do we make things faster? How do we make things easy with one tap? Making their day-to-day easier. All comes back to that. So does that answer your question about my?
It does. And I'm just sort of curious as to how that sort of launched, and taking another backward step, what got you into that line of work?
Software. I always knew I wanted to do software as a kid. I loved like just as a kid, I was always fascinated by programming. I remember playing video games as a really young age and being like, how does that work? I'm actually older than I look. I played a ZX Spectrum.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. My dad had a ZX Spectrum, so I played a ZX, and he bought me a book, and I was like 6, trying to work out how to program a ZX Spectrum. And I used to like get things on screen, change the colors, and I was like, yeah, I am. Yeah, so it's so I was always really quite fascinated about how you can do things on screen and edit it and stuff like that.
Just, yeah, I mean, I remember I remember those days. It's just, having to load a program in on a cassette tape, taking 20 minutes to load, and then it crashed. Yeah. I'm curious to know, and the question just occurred to me as you were talking there. So that's taking things apart and messing with them. Did you do that with physical things as well? Or was it just software that?
Sometimes, yeah. I think I did it with a watch, and I remember getting in trouble with a kid. But not too much. But yeah, I did a little bit as a kid. Yeah.
I just wondered. I don't know, So it's just so from being a kid, you just had an interest in it, and then that interest became.
Yeah, like even when I was in like high school, I knew that I was probably the very few knew that what I want to do from a very early age. So I was like, well, I knew what course I wanted. I was in first year of high school. I was like, I know what university course I wanted to do. So I was like, I had already picked my university course in first year. So I was like, okay, I need 2 A's and 2 B's to do that. So my entire high school was just like, well, I know what I need to do. I need to get 2 A's and 2 B's. So in higher years. So I was like, okay, well, I just need to make sure I pick the right subjects to do that. And so it was like
a fascinating sort of position there, because that's very akin to what we're trying to do with coaching and driver training. Clear goals.
Yeah.
Plan.
Yeah. And I built that for myself as a kid. Yeah.
First 2 rows on the standards checker part 3 exam is: did the trainer identify the pupil's learning goals and needs, and was the agreed lesson structure? You've just done that for yourself, so therefore take ownership of your own learning, which makes it more successful. Fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I never ever think about that much, but yeah, no.
So I mean, we are going to talk about the new stuff that you got, but I'm just also fascinated. So I mean, I know you're like stupid busy at the minute, and I'm going to ask you, what do you do in your spare time? And there probably isn't any spare time, but when there is spare time, what does Michael from GoRoadie do with it?
Spare time. Oh, I miss spare time. No, I try to. I think what's really important for me is because I am like the job is like really, really stressful, of course. Running. Well, we're all business owners, right? And so we all know what it's like to run a business. Now that we have employees, it's like it's even more stressful. So it's like but like I need to de-stress, so I work out quite a bit. I know it doesn't look like it, but
you look more like you work out than I do.
Maybe. So I try and do that like 4 or 5 times a week, just to kind of like stay healthy, stay mentally fresh, because I think that's really important. And I found that works for me, just to like clear my thoughts, or just to stay mentally positive. So that's quite important to me. Otherwise, it's like I love just watching movies, or movies are probably my bag, and I do a lot. I know it's not really downtime, but I do a lot of learning. I'm always listening to an audiobook about business and how to be better and improve myself. Like that's really something I'm really passionate about, and travel is like probably my biggest passion, which I can't do at the moment. So I love to just get away, see some new location, and I've obviously with COVID-19 I've not been able to do that so much. So.
No. What's the trophy on top of the cabinet behind you?
I was
just curious.
Everyone else asked that. It's no big deal whatsoever. No, I do have good trophies. I should replace it. It was like a tug of war thing from a team building exercise years ago. And yeah, it was like a company day out. And we won a tug of war thing, and it's just there, and it's like very cheap, and it's
I'm interested here now, because in your description of it, you're playing it down. Yeah, it has pride of place in your room.
Yeah, I guess I just always
curious to know. That's all.
We do like GoRoadie's won some awards and stuff like that, and I should probably put that there instead. Like like yeah, we won like when we were a side hustle, we actually won a startup award for side hustle of the year, back in 2018, which was really that was kind of give us the courage to kind of go a bit further and really treat it seriously.
Sure. I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna lead this and getting you to lie down and tell me about your relationship with your father. We're not going there. But it's just interesting to have you describe it, because I expected it, because it's right up there, close to the TV, which you like watching movies. So that trophy is important. Ooh, I want to find out about that. That's just my general nosiness.
Yeah.
You then play it down and you think, well, if you're playing it down, why is it there? What's that all about? Is it the only trophy you've got and it's going to make you really sad if I talk about it? I'm only messing.
We've won a few awards at GoRoadie, and I've got them, and I should probably replace it. But it's always been there. It's always been there for the last 10 years. So I think
it's great. I think it's great to celebrate achievement. I'm always curious to look at these kind of things. I just have this insane level of curiosity about stuff and how stuff works and how people work and what makes them tick and stuff. Anyway, I'll leave that alone for now. We'll maybe come back to that another time.
Next time we do a call, I'm gonna replace it. So
get them all out. Get them up on there. Yeah, you can go through and chronicle. In fact, why don't you create a profile page with a timeline?
There we go. All the awards.
So I mean, all the silly hours that you've been working on, all the other bits and pieces, has all been leading up to the launch of your new stuff, isn't it? Tell us about that.
So COVID-19 has obviously impacted the business. We are in essentially 6 cities in the UK: Dundee, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Leeds, Nottingham, and Liverpool. And we're like super passionate and really excited that we've got a really great base of instructors in those locations, and we've got a base of instructors that love us in those locations, and it's brilliant. And we're also we're UK wide, but we have like big clusters in those locations, and so bookings do come in London, Manchester, and other locations, but it's like we've not officially launched them yet. But the problem is with COVID-19 is if we were to start calling instructors in Manchester, hey, do you want to come on and like represent, like come and get a profile on GoRoadie? They're like, why would I want to do that? My phone will not stop ringing, and it's like, you're right. So having phoning them is it's just going to be hassling them, and they don't want that. We don't want that. So it's so we kind of thought, well, as a business, what can we do? And what we've always wanted to do in the future was to really build an app for instructors. That's what we were like, we'll do this stuff just now, and then eventually we'll get to the app. And COVID-19 has just made us think, maybe we need to bring that forward. So that's kind of what we're doing now. So we've got GoRoadie Pro is our new app that we're going to be, this is the first time really talking about publicly, really. So GoRoadie Pro is an app that's going to be the all-in-one smart diary management app for instructors. And that is going to do all your pupils, your lessons, progress tracking, reflective logs, finances, all in the one place. And I know that there's other apps out there.
Well, it's an interesting thing, is it? Because that, thinking back to the concept of making people's lives better, because they don't need probably GoRoadie to generate them any learners at this point in time, because there's demand is way outstripping supply. But it's that quality of life thing, isn't it? So it is.
It comes back to that. It's like, how do we make their life better? And it's like, fundamentally, what we've given ourselves a very clear goal on and how to measure if their life is better. So we want to give each instructor about 2 to 4 hours back every single month, and that's what our goal is, and that's measurable, and I think it's an achievable goal. So everything we do, it's like, this needs to give you time back. So we're working with a cohort of about 50 driving instructors right now to fine tune what we're doing.
Right.
And every time I introduce a new instructor to the product, I'm just like, this needs to give you time back. Please let us know if this is giving you time back, and if it's giving you half an hour, 20 minutes back a week. Just because that's the purpose of it. And if it isn't doing that, we need to do better. And it's not about making money. Well, of course we will charge for the product, but really the goal for us is like build something that instructors love to use. That's it. If they love using it, then they'll tell their friends about it. And it's that simple. And that's what we're really focusing on, is like making something that is absolutely brilliant to use. And the cohort that we've got right now, they're really passionate about it. They really love it. They've seen what's on the market previously, but they're like, this is great because it's evolving at such a rapid pace. And there's a few things in there that are just game changing, really. So it's that just isn't done on the industry at this point in time, because we've taken that kind of technology approach. We've looked at what all these amazing tech companies are doing in San Francisco and be like, we can do that. Why can't we do that? We can do that. So it's really exciting. So like, there's a lot of features that we'll be shouting about. Like, for example, do you have a waiting list, Bob?
Yes.
Have you ever had a waiting list, and when you've got to it, you phone them up and they've said, sorry, I've found another instructor?
Yeah, of course it happens.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've built something called live waiting list, and it will basically, you add them to your GoRoadie Pro waiting list, and what we do in the background is every 2 to 3 weeks we check in with that person. Are you still happy to wait on Bob? Are you still happy to wait on Bob? And that you then have a list of, in chronological order, and then if it's if they've decided to find someone else, it tells you, so you don't need to bother phoning that person.
Right.
That's there. Just say 5 minutes. That is what we're trying to do. We're trying to do that sort of thing.
Because often you can't get through straight away, so it's maybe more than one phone call too. So it's interesting.
So this is what we're trying to do. It's like, if we can just build technology that does all these things, that will just give you, I don't need to go and chase out people anymore.
So where can somebody find it to have a look at it? And so also, if they're already on GoRoadie, do they just get the opportunity just to upgrade?
They will eventually. We haven't. We're still fine tuning it, but it's. I think in middle of June we're going to announce it publicly, and this might go out in middle of June. Who knows? And we are
on Tuesday, isn't it?
But I think it's and right now anyone can sign up to kind of register their interest. So it's www.goroadie.com/pro. And it's and what we call it is, it's this all-in-one smart app for instructors. So it's and the way we work is we always want to iterate quickly and listen to real, genuine feedback from instructors, because it's
just a quick look at what that looks like.
Yeah, sure. I can actually give. So we've obviously faded out the thing because it's
of course, yeah.
it's not. I'm wondering if I can give you a quick whirlwind tour.
It's very exciting.
Let me just see. This might take a little bit of time.
I might need to let you screen share. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's fine. And then
just mess with the technology while we're live.
I know, right? Actually, this might take about 5 minutes to set up. I should have done this previously. But I'll chat and then we'll see. But there's other features that we were quite passionate about. So similar to a lot of people do lesson reminders. A lot of instructors do lesson reminders. They'll sit down. We've heard this so many times.
Each individual pupil, yeah.
They'll sit down and text every individual pupil. And it's like, okay. And I know there's other services that do lesson reminders. So we do lesson reminders, of course. But what we've taken it a step further. When you board a flight, you check into a flight, right? You go on 48 hours before, check in, let the airline know that you're going to show up. gives you some basic information, goes through the safety checks with you, baggage, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that with driving lessons?
Interesting.
What, like that way you check in, and it confirms to you, Bob, that they're going to show up. You're not going to be sat outside their house. They've checked in, so they said they're going to be there. That increases the commitment on the learner side.
Yeah.
Also, right now when we do check in, we kind of go through COVID screening. So, do you have any symptoms? Is any of your household self-isolating? And have you had a fever or anything like that? So it's no, and then you as an instructor gets that information immediately, right to your phone, notification.
Is there an opportunity here to then be reminded of the terms and conditions at that point?
As done, yeah, absolutely. We definitely remind that, because each instructor has their own unique terms and conditions. Okay. Absolutely. So we do have that in place. We also have, so that's what we have right now, but I'm really keen to kind of go down the kind of not the reflective logs, the client-centered learning approach. Because say you check into a lesson, maybe you say, what do you want to learn today, on the lesson tomorrow? What do you want to learn? Yeah. So you, Bob, get a notification to your phone. It's like, tomorrow I want to go around roundabouts, or I want to perfect this technique. So then you start the lesson and be like, well, I got from the GoRoadie app that you want to do this. Is that right?
It's an interesting area, because there are a lot of instructors who struggle with that. Who when I talk to them, they just say, well, I asked my pupils what they want to do, and they just go, oh, I don't know. So we then end up taking over, which sort of ruins the whole cycle. And it's, even if we can just get them to narrow it down to, well, this is the topic I want to work on.
Yeah. And
then we can, so that's fascinating too. So it's offering an extra portal, isn't it? An extra way of getting in, an extra way of engaging with that client, to have them take ownership of their own learning, which is what you did when you were at school. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So it's like all that sort of stuff, even like outside learning, it's like, say they want to change their drop-off location. Because say they want to be dropped off at their girlfriend's at the end of it, and then you get a notification before the lesson to say, hey, the drop-off location has changed, or they've requested a different drop-off location. Yeah. So you've got that ahead of time. It's giving you the information ahead of time before the lesson, so that you can make decisions, make other plans, and it's not a last-minute request. It's thrown off your entire day.
Again, and it can feed into the relationship during the session, because if they're asking me at the start of the session, oh, can you drop me off at my partner's place? No.
I haven't planned for that. Whereas, like, if you get a request 24 hours before, you're like, could I make that work? I'm not on the spot trying to make that decision. Yeah. I'm like, can I make that work? And I think that makes you.
Well, I like that idea, because you could then be saying, well, unfortunately, you can't do that because my next lesson is here.
Yeah.
I could drop you off there, but I would have to shorten the lesson, and we still have to pay for it, I'm afraid, because I've got to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I like that. That's
and that's the sort of stuff, because we're using technology, we get all that information, and we know how to do it really, really well. So it's like, this is like the kind of ideas we're taking forward.
I like the idea of the level of automation as well, which is, again, giving you time back, isn't it? So I do like that.
Yeah. So that's what GoRoadie Pro is all about. And it's actually just started. So do I have an account? Actually, I don't know.
And is it the same as GoRoadie? You're just paying on?
So it's the difference with GoRoadie Pro is it will be a monthly fee for the app. All the service will be a monthly fee, and that's going to be about £12 per month.
£12.
Yeah, £12 per month, and that gives you access to the app. There would be no other additional costs on top of that, other than potentially lesson fees. If we do that, we're not fully decided on that sort of thing. Yeah. Like if we were doing payments from us, because we get charges come through from Stripe, we may have to just cover that. But
sure.
We might not even. We're going to think about how we get around that. But it's the goal is, if we can give you 2 to 4 hours back each month, that is 2 to 4 hours that you can be doing whatever you want to be doing, whether that's more lessons on the or time with your family. We think £12 is worth that.
Well, if it gave you 4 hours, if it gave you 4 hours back, and you took 3 of those as leisure time and 1 as a lesson, you've more than paid for the app.
More than paid for that, yeah. So that's why we think it's a really fair and a genuine pricing model.
Well, so I mean, GoRoadie.com/pro, and people can have a little bit of a look and a bit register interest. You're not committing to anything at that point, I'm assuming.
No, nothing at all.
It all sounds, really good.
I mean, it's really exciting because it just feels like it's like it is something really fresh and really built from a different perspective, I guess. Like I know that there's other apps out there, and I think the kind of way these other apps were kind of developed, where here's a paper diary, let's digitize a paper diary, where we've just taken how do we really take this a different approach, and I think that's probably the key differences. I should say that we're not going to be charging anyone until August, so feel free to come on and try it out. There's no commitment. Right.
Excellent. Well, that gives you feedback as well, doesn't it? So it
does, and that's what we want. We want opinions. Just give us opinions, and then we can tailor it and change it and make it a better experience for everyone. Like one instructor was saying, "Hey, could I get my branding on it?" I'm like, "We'll look at that. Absolutely, 100%. I think that's a great thought, because you're not going to be the only one saying that. So absolutely, we're happy to do that." And that's the way we work. At the end of the day, it comes back to how do we make the lives better?
I mean, it's interesting, because I'm just looking at that thing, and a lot of the learner apps not that useful to me, because I don't do learners at the minute. My diary is full of instructor training work. This might be a better fit for me in terms of that. Maybe, I don't know. I'll certainly be having a look.
Thank you very much, Bob.
I'm all for anything that's going to make my life easier. Well, that's fascinating, and it's nice to find out a little bit more about you as well.
Yeah.
It's always fun chatting with you. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
And there's always sometimes beer as well, so that's always good.
No, it's a little early for that. Although it is 7 o'clock in the world somewhere. Thanks for sharing your time with us, Michael. I wish you the very best of luck with the app. It sounds like it's going to be pretty whiz bang. GoRoadie.com/pro. Give them a look.
Thank you, Bob.
Let's say bye-bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.